Well, sorry display for Newcastle here at Craven Cottage. It will be easy to stand here and say they didn't see it coming, but let's be honest, Newcastle haven't been great in those first 4 games in the Premier League. Yes, they've got the results, but the performances just haven't been there. And the good performances, that is, they haven't been there. And today, I don't know whether it was complacency setting in, but the way Newcastle started the game was so poor. They just looked lethargic, couldn't show any intensity, and before they knew it, they were 2-0 down on 22 minutes, and really they had a mountain to climb there. They gave it a go, made some changes after half time, and Harvey Barnes pulled one back at the start of the second half, and that gave you hope that there could be perhaps something special happening. But the more Newcastle overcommitted bodies and went for the equaliser, they were going to leave themselves a little bit open at the back, and unfortunately it was a bit of a blooper really from Bruno, daydreaming in the corner of the pitch, tried to play it across his own box, and Reece Nelson cashes in to make it 3-1. Before that, Newcastle had a gift of an opportunity to equalise when Fabian Schär was handed a similar sort of blooper from Emile Smith-Rowe, but maybe rushed it a bit and ended up hitting the side net. And so sadly, Newcastle lose 3-1 here. The unbeaten run is over, and it's back to the drawing board. Response needed at Wimbledon in the Carabao Cup on Tuesday. Well, I was hoping to be bringing you a wonderful package here of fan celebrations, players lapping up the appreciation from the away end, but unfortunately Newcastle failed to turn up today. I think that's the only way of putting it. It was a lacklustre display in every department really, especially the first half. The first 22 minutes were, I'm not going to exaggerate, but up there with the worst I've seen a Newcastle team, and I've seen some poor performances down the years. So if you look at that 22 minutes in isolation, that was just not good enough at Premier League level, at any level. I don't think anybody can be proud of that, because it wasn't just the fact it was 2-0. It could have been 3, it could have been 4, it could have been 5, and Fulham could not believe their luck here. Where did Newcastle go from here? Well, they don't go too far away from here because they play Wimbledon in the Carabao Cup on Tuesday night. That now becomes a very important game. It becomes pivotal in some ways because a cup exit will not do anything to help morale around here. I think Newcastle have got the capability of beating Wimbledon, but you know, they'll be up for it, even though they are lower league opponents. So yes, it was a day of disappointment today, but Newcastle have got to put it behind them and make sure that this doesn't become a theme of the season, and a few things don't become a theme. I just don't think that every time Newcastle go a goal down or on the brink of defeat, cameras panning on the sporting directors, it doesn't have a good feel to it for me, and it's concerning compared to what we've seen in the last few months. And I know fans don't want to hear some of that, but you know, you can only reflect on what you've taken in here today at this, you know, famous old stadium. And you know, they were up for it. Sun was shining. Sun is still shining here now, but ultimately Newcastle were just not at it today from the offset, and that's got to change. So let's hope now that we move on, and we move on in a positive way, get through in the cup, and then it's that game against Man City. And you know what, by 6 or 7 days, this whole thing could feel a lot different. We've been here before, but I think, you know, the players left here, I wouldn't say heads down, but it was subdued. I don't think there were many talkers after the game to the media, and I think that's always telling. It's always something that we can note down as journalists as it's a bad sign when players don't want to talk about it. I think Harvey Barnes did a little bit of TV, but other than that, there was nothing to the written press. So we don't get a full explanation. And I guess the best way for them to reply is by beating Wimbledon and moving on to Man City in a positive manner. But disappointing today. First defeat of the season, first defeat in the Premier League since Manchester United last season. So not the end of the world in some ways, but a worrying display all the same.